Welcome to the one true divine feminine and psychic investigations tarot, where we spread light and love and angelic vibes across the universe. And also sometimes we help to solve crimes. And yes, I did use astrology to solve my own crime. And I only ever use it for good in the world because that's all astrology was ever meant to be used for. But welcome here. So thrilled to have you. I'm grateful and blessed. I want to send out a huge hug of thank you and gratitude to all of the people who have been keeping me alive: FBI, police, various tarot card readers, spiritual advisors. My love, warmth, and gratitude is absolutely beaming from my heart. And thanking all of you to help get me through what has been a very, very difficult ordeal. And yet I am a very spiritual person and I have a big spirit. I am healing. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting more and more back to myself. And I know there's still plots out there. They're still hoping to, kill me, but it's not going to happen. And there is going to be a new beginning around the 23rd of November, new moon in Sagittarius, and it's going to have a blessing from Jupiter, which is going direct at that time. So I do perceive some good things in the air. And of course, the eclipse of the 8th brought in some harsh things because there was a square with Saturn, right? And Saturn is the hammer, bringing the hammer down. Sometimes that means police, law enforcement, law and order, rules, regulations, people trying to jump in their car and come do crazy stuff. Well, Saturn put a hammer on that, right? And that's going to stay in effect for 6 months or more. So anyhow, we're off to a new beginning. I'm thrilled to be here, and my gratitude to everybody helping is overwhelming. Thank you, more than I can say. And I hope at some point I get to meet all of my soul tribe. I want to hear from you at some point because I know I need to even up with a lot of folks in a big way. My ships have not come in yet, but they're going to. I would even like to even up in a little way, but I need your mailing address to be able to do so because I can't do Cash App because I still have bad guys in my phone. They're hijacked in my phone, right? All right. Anyhow, welcome. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the cards. They've already been shuffled. Some cards just seem to like to come up for me. And one is the Moon card. And of course, I do love the Moon card because it represents so much of what I tap into, which is information behind the veil. I am not psychic, not really, but I am intuitive, and I am a very good map reader, which means I'm a good astrologer. And that means that I am able to see things that a lot of people can't necessarily see, but I only ever use them for good. And to me, solving crimes is one of those positive things, right? So I also like the moon because it has everything to do with emotions, with family, with nurturing, with women in your life, with the sign Cancer, which also has to do with great food because most Cancerians love great food. Often it has to do with history and nostalgia. Hypnotherapy, which I am a hypnotist, right? A master hypnotist. And I use it to connect with the divine. For me, it's like prayer times, I say sometimes 100, but sometimes it's more like 1,000. It's a great way to meet God in the ethers and be able to converse and meet spirit guides and be able to travel the cosmos, truly. And yes, sometimes I have left my body under hypnosis, and it has been wonderful. And it's proof that we do have a soul, as we all know anyhow, and that light being is what travels when we leave this earthly plane. So this has everything to do with that. It also can have to do with healing. And again, we have, when you go into hypnosis and you have wounds that you have to heal, you need to be careful how much you do at one time because there can be a lot of stuff hidden down in that subconscious, right? From past lives, from traumas, from childhood, from other things that have occurred. And it's like there are guardians at the gate who are there to help make sure that you do things in a slow but steady fashion so that you don't create too much turmoil in your life, causing your own towers, right? Some healing. Some things are so horrible, you have to take your time at healing them. But I'm a pretty good healer. I've healed myself of uh, unsurvivable situations. So I'm getting good at this. And I like to help good people um, heal, but I'm not taking on strangers for sure. That's for sure. All right. This card came up the other day too, the Queen of Wands, but this time it's upside down. So normally you would look at this card and think, okay, here's a woman who's looking out over a vast desert. You can see the dry conditions, the harsh stuff that she's been through in her past. And when it's like this, she's able to reflect on those hard times and how she used her Capricornian skills, represented by the goat down here, to bring things into fruition. But when it's like this, it's like the hard work never happened. The change never occurred because rather than tapping into her own skills, her own abilities, her ability to do hard work and make things happen for herself, that never happened. And so instead, everything in this particular instance just went upside down. But to make things go like this, you have to tap in and do the hard work, put in the labor, and develop your own heart center, and just do the labor yourself is the key thing right there. And of course, doing the hard work can give you strength, right? We've got wands here, 10 of them. So it's like the completion of a journey. It's in the upright. So this feels like a successful completion of a journey, because even though things have been working at cross purposes in the background, there's been a lot of fire, a lot of strength, a lot of wisdom, a lot of soul purpose, a lot of creative energy and heart center energy. And though it's been slow, even my heart is healing at this point. So bringing forth the inner strength, right, to bring good things into the world, and to bring your own creative projects into being, because it's always good when you're trying to bring forth something, you have to tap into your own creative ideas to bring things to the world. And when you do, that makes you strong, and that helps you to develop your Leo nature, or your sun for many people, because Leo is related to the sun. This is a unique card to the Crowley deck. It's called the Aeon, and it has everything to do with judgment and taking time to make a judgment, to reflect inwardly, to use higher instincts and knowledge. You can see here's the higher person delving deeply in to figure out stuff, and not just bending over backwards to make things fit, but actually looking deeply. All right. Love this card. New beginnings in communications. Upright sword. Piercing for the truth. Protected by the Most High. Divine white light. That, glory of God shining down on the project. Beautiful sunshine pouring in, blessing this new beginning. And the whole purpose of this beginning in communications is to bring new ideas into the world, to help dispel the darkness, to chase away the untruths, the lies, and just to bring, a different way of tapping in with communications to the divine, which some people do with tarot and astrology and hypnotherapy and other ways. It's just a different way of connecting with God and bringing new things to earth. And I know we've had some difficulty with that, with a lot of YouTube channels being hacked. And we had, in that November 8th eclipse, a square between Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is all about old ways and old patterns and old how we used to do it and how it's always been done, and structure and this and that. And Uranus is all about new ideas, maverick ideas, thinking outside of the box, connecting in new ways, bringing new information and ways to light, right? I'm a new age kind of gal. And of course, over my whole life, how did I get to this point? With lots of introspection, The Hermit is very much related to the sign of Virgo, which has a lot to do with being of service to the world. It also has to do with uh, your work. And this does rule my 10th house of career. So I've always had a feeling of how can you be of service to the world, right? And the best way for all of us to do that is to look inwardly to see how we can find our own inner light and how we can make that light shine out into the world. And of course, no one should ever want to snuff out the inner light of another human being, right? Because that would be like murder, like spiritual murder. It surely wouldn't be something godlike. All truly godlike people would want the light and brilliance of every single person to shine, right? In their best fashion, so long as they're trying to bring good things to the universe, right? And, bringing good things to the universe can help you to birth things that can be transformative. So here we have an egg wrapped with a little snake, and that is all about transformation, bringing something new in, something powerful. And that's not to say that getting to this point is easy. Sometimes it can take a long time. Sometimes you have to do this more than once in your life. And when that happens, you do have to go through the dark night of the soul. You have to try to understand, what's going on? Why is this happening? What do I need to learn from this situation so that I can get out of the darkness and come into the light? And when you're going through the dark night of the soul, there can be some terrible trials and tribulations, right? Evil snakes in the grass, wolves at your heels, very difficult things that you have to go through. And of course, when you're going through that, oh, well, it's not really a pretty sight, is it? Because betrayal can, basically knock a person down to their knees, right? Almost kill them. And yet, that's certainly not incompetence. That's just being betrayed. And no person, especially somebody you don't know, should ever have the right to try to gain control over your life simply because, they put cameras in your house and thought that they could rule over you when you were going through the worst betrayal that other people had set up for you and then filmed the whole disaster, right? So that was the dark night of the soul. But we're past that. Now we're strong, getting stronger as a spirit, more spiritual, more tapped into God, more determined to be on our own unique path, and hoping for a path that works for everybody in our country. My goal would be territories for us all so we can each live our lives according to our own set of beliefs and values. That's what I would hope for. Here we've got swiftness of communication. This card keeps popping up too. You can see the information is going everywhere. And it's like the journeys, because it's also wands everywhere, like going hither and yon all over the place. There is a little bit of hectic feeling to this. You can see there's a lot of erratic energy. And certainly we have Mercury here represented by this symbol here and Mars. So it's like fiery information, fiery paths, fiery movement forward, and yet everybody's going in different directions. So there is a little bit of a feeling of futility here. And yet, despite the futility, the overall feeling is, well, maybe we're going in different directions, but maybe it's possible for everybody to have more of what they want with a happy ending, right? And territory certainly could help us all to do that without being in conflict, right? Recognizing we're all unique and different. We all have our different ways, and yet we can live side by side. Maybe we need territories to just make it so everybody gets more of what they want. So that could be a good thing, I think. All right, then we have Two of Discs, which is change. As usually twos represent options. It has the sign of Jupiter and Capricorn, so luck and work, luck and opportunities, different possibilities opening up, has the feeling of infinity. Again, the snake can be very transformative, bringing in new energy and, the light and the dark. So there's opposites, there's different paths that can be taken, but overall it feels balanced and lucky. How grateful I am. I'm just going to say that to everybody, right? For helping to save my life in a million ways. Thank you. All right. 7 of Wands, Valor. Okay. Sevens usually represent that there's been some kind of conflict, right? Um, this could be an inner turmoil that people have to go through for whatever reason. There can be different people working. You can see at cross purposes here. And again, Mars, so there's a lot of fiery energy with that. This also has the symbol Leo. So, you know, cross purposes with Leo is people stealing creativity, stealing ideas, stealing writing, stealing music, whatever, and just causing conflict. And the true answer to all of that, of course, is to develop thyself, develop thy own skills, let your own sun shine, and then come out victorious in your own life, right? And that gives a person valor when they develop their own skills and ability to move forward well. Okay, 10 of Wands. Tens are like completions, and they can also have a sense of a heavy feeling to them, like a burden. And in fact, this is called oppression, but it's in the upside down. So, yes, there was a period of time where I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I still have a little bit of the weight of the world on my shoulders, but it's getting better, right? Because the truth will come to light. And once the truth comes to light, well, then the burden gets lighter. And of course, that burden should be shifted then onto the people that actually caused the burden, right? And so that they can deal with what they actually set in motion. Here we have the 10 of Swords upside down. And boy, 10 of Swords is literally meant to kill somebody, right? To stab them so many times in the back that there's absolutely nothing left. That all you could possibly do is lay down on the ground and just bleed out. And here you can even see it was like trying to pierce a person's heart, right? Suck the life juice right out of them. But this card's in the upside down. So what that means is though attempts were made, and not one, but multiple times, they were not successful. And what that does to somebody who is strong spiritually is it makes them come out even stronger, right? More powerful, more healed, more willing to bring light and love and beauty to the universe, and to dispel the myths and the lies and all of that, and to be able to bring beautiful things to the earth. And you can only do that, and I know this because I've had to go through it twice, if you heal. Now, it may take a while, and it depends on how bad the situation was. In my case, it took quite some time, but I have forgiven some groups twice. So please don't rack up anymore, right? I've forgiven twice. And we need to make changes, right? So that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, right? Because we shouldn't be trying to literally kill a human being, to snuff their light out, to keep them from eating, or to gang stalk them, or many of the other horrible things that were planned for me, and some were done. These kind of things don't belong in a beautiful, godlike universe. They have no place. And trying to do that sort of thing may take time, but it brings failure, right? And gloominess and darkness over organizations, and it makes people want to just shy away from what's going on, because when you look beneath the veil, you want to see light and beauty, but instead you see darkness, right? Like doing anything to win, trying to get coins at any cost, and that results in failure, right? And that's not a good way to go about things. And here, this card, man, lately, the devil. The devil has been in all of this, right? With witches casting evil spells, suicide spells, death spells, breakup spells, murder spells, all of that. And it, for a while, had me bound, right? But I broke free. And what that does, though, is that energy binds the people that try to do those sorts of things, poison others, kill people for life insurance policies, um, try to cast evil things upon their spirit that have nothing to do with their soul whatsoever. Those kinds of things bind people terribly, creating murk and muck, and just fills their soul with this sticky stuff that doesn't look good at all. And those are the kinds of things that you will need to begin to heal so that you do not show up at the pearly gates with that on your spirit, right? The things that were erroneously tried to put on my spirit, they're back on where they belong. And my recommendation is to heal that so that you don't show up with that level of evil all over your souls, and to recognize that those tactics are not of God. They're not. They are of the devil. And yeah, and that kind of muck and evil is going to go back to where it belongs. And so please take a look at the tactics and realize that that was never godlike at all, right? But some of you are bound to that now, right? And I am very sorry for that. But of course, that was stuff that you tried to put on to me. So, anyhow, Queen of Swords. This is a powerful woman. I have a feeling there is a Queen of Swords in my life. There's been a King of Swords too. And they're all about getting down to the truth of things, right? You can see here, you got to love the way these cards work. She's literally ripping the masks off of people and looking behind what's hidden, right? Some people have a public persona, but then what happens in private is completely different, right? So she's ripping this mask off and saying no more. She's got a higher vision here. You can see this higher vision, and she's got her sword of truth, and she is going to bring that higher vision down to earth. And so the truth will be known. So the masks are coming off, and the truth, sadly, will come out. But I'm grateful for the truth coming out, right? More than you could know. Okay, we have the Three of Discs. This is about hard work, trying to build structure in your life, bringing in the money in a balanced configuration, trying to keep the darkness at bay, giving yourself a foundation to work from. I like that energy. And again, it has Mars and Capricorn, so working hard to bring in the coins. Here we have Three of Wands. This is like a great adventure, always with wands, some kind of inspiration and passionate beginning. And with this one, this shows virtue. So there's a sun up here. So it's like you are working on your soul purpose. You are doing what you are meant to do on this planet. And by doing that, you are bringing in virtue, and you're doing it with fire in the belly. We have Aries down here, and Aries is the sign of the entrepreneur, people whose main thing in life and is meant to be is going after that which serves you. It is to have your needs met first, basically. And that might sound selfish, but for an Aries, that's exactly what they're meant to do. And that's why they usually have fire in the belly, because they're here to get their stuff done, right? And that can bring in a lot of fiery energy with it. But when it's channeled properly, and it has to be channeled properly, then you can end up with a virtuous path that helps your sun to shine. Allows you to take risks too. Depends on what house it shows up in, how it actually plays out in your chart. Here we have the Prince of Cups. This is a young man looking for love. Looks very hasty, not well thought out, kind of dashing off on the wings of a horse. And even the horse is looking back going, isn't this going a little bit fast? He's got his cup out. He's looking for love. This is not my kind of person right here. I like more steadfast people, tried and true, true love, more mature, But there are, of course, lots of young people who are beginning in that love journey who have this more, swift energy for love. Whereas I kind of like to see what's all behind a person before I would ever delve there. And there's a lot of ways to find that out. All right. Here we have the Hanged Man. He shows up lately too. It's like being upside down, not knowing maybe which way to go, feeling nailed to a cross. Could be feeling stuck in the matrix, right? Depends on how you look at the energy. I mean, to me, this could be a good matrix or a bad matrix, but in this case, he might be, hung by lovers, stuck in the matrix, trying to figure out how to bring wisdom to the situation and transform it. And knowledge and wisdom has to be applied in this situation in order to get unstuck. And of course, everybody has the goal in life of bringing in happiness, bringing in balance, bringing in peace, love, luxury, cups that are golden and filled with light, good emotions, happy flowing of energy between people, with, good energy above. This is just a nice card of balance and good emotional flow. And we all want that in our lives. And so I think sometimes, getting out of this energy is then focusing on what's really important, so that you can make, the good energy come in, right? And if you get too many cups in the works, that sometimes doesn't work out. So here we have one of discs. This is like a new beginning in work, and always protected by the Most High. Almost feels like there's angel wings here looking over a new beginning or a new path opening up for a job. It has rings, like tree rings here. So even though it's a new beginning, it feels like it's a tried and true and time-tested adventure that is going to bring in money. So Ace of Discs. All right. So now we're going to try some other cards. I had some cards coming, but they got derailed somewhere. I don't know where they went, but it's all right. I still have cards. Eight of Wands from the Spiral deck. Here it's like there's a storm brewing, and often with the Eight of Wands, it's like, which way do I go? What path do I take? It's kind of like with the Eight of Swords. You feel stuck even though there's a way out, you just can't see it. Well, this is like there's so much energy and so many different paths I can take, and interference happening from the storm brewing behind. You don't know which path to go down. So I would say one of the best things to do when you're stuck there is to take quiet time and reflect and figure out what you need to do to move forward without the chaos. That's the energy of that card. The Spider. Spiders, people always tend to think are bad, but they can be the ones that help to weave the webs of our lives, the webs of our dreams. They hold things together, right? They can help to catch food, dreams that pass by in the night. They can be a dream weaver. Many Native Americans have a positive feeling about this. Now, there's also the negative connotation. And I certainly have had one dream where I had a spider dream that was more than scary. It was. I was camping in a backcountry cabin. There was a big hairy spider latched onto a light bulb. I went out to whack it with a stick, and multitudes of little spiders came out. In this case, when you have a dream like that, it usually has something to do with things that are causing fear in your life. So it can have multiple meanings, like most things. Just like a snake can be healing and transformative, snakes can also be snakes in the grass. You got to figure that out, which one it means. Asparus hands. What a beautiful card. Love the colors, the energy. This has a feeling of gratitude to it. There's flowers, there's beauty, there's love, there's light here. Certainly, I feel enormous gratitude to everybody that's helped me to, remove difficulties from my life, doppelgangers from my life, uh, hidden cameras from my life, fake stuff from my life that had nothing to do with me. And also, I like it because it's like not only is it bringing in beauty and joy and gratitude on my behalf and on behalf of everyone who's helped me, but it's also like the hands you see in Tibetan statues, where when there's trouble in the world, there's many hands to help. And of course, the eyes that you see on the hands are so that you can see the suffering and be able to use the hands to make the suffering go away. So this is just a card of gratitude and helpfulness and, being kind and helping someone overcome difficulties. And my gratitude for that is greater than you could possibly imagine. My heart is huge with gratitude to everybody. Strong men, decent hierophants helping immensely, Hispanic men kicking ass down in a coven, tarot card readers who've had their lives turned upside down just to help, right? To hide the crimes of others because the people are hiding the crimes and they're bringing the truth out, and so they're getting harmed for that. And again, what kind of world do we live in where that kind of stuff is happening? Right? I think we all need to look seriously at where we are in our country and determine, do we want to live through like a continual dark night of the soul with all of this kind of energy? Or do we want to figure out how to make change so it works for everybody? How do we bring in beauty? How do we bring in light? How do we find a way to honor women in our country? And just how do we bring in more beauty and light and angelic vibes? And does that sound like such a bad thing? Here we have intuitive communication. Yes, I know people are realizing this does happen to me at times. Sometimes I see things and I just get a feeling, right? Like I know this is important for some reason. I might not even understand why it's important at the time. But I did get a number of those hits at the beginning of this, and I sent those hits to the FBI. They probably all thought I was crazy, right? Because I'm sending these weird messages with YouTube things saying, pay attention to this. And I didn't even know why it was important at the time. I just knew it was important. So that's intuition. I'm not really psychic, but intuitive, right? So we have molecules of emotions in our gut. They call our gut our second brain. And when something is wonderful or not right, our gut alerts us, right? It tells us that something's awry or good. And it's a matter of listening to the gut and tapping in to what is being told to you and just simply paying attention. And that is one of several things that helped me to solve my own crime was paying attention to those messages. I'd see things and I'd go, that's important. Or once in a while, I'll stop a YouTube video and I'll sing a song, and then I'll turn the video back on, and the person in the video will then sing the song I just sang. It's kind of weird, but it happens like that. And it's mostly just listening to your inner voice, which I think often is God talking to us, right? And if you can listen to that inner voice, you can help to save your own life or help chart yourself onto a better path. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, right? I was maybe a little harsher than I would have liked the other day. I go through ups and downs still of being ornery and upset at what I've been through. And then I go through periods of enormous gratitude. And I'm swinging more and more back to where I was before this happened, which is a person of enormous gratitude. And just being grateful to be here on the planet and hoping to end this cycle completely and be able to do good things in our country and getting our country to a point where horrible things like this never happen again, right? That we can have conscious thought about what we're doing to a human being. and then choosing never to do some of the stuff that's been done ever again, because this is part of our national psyche now, right? That basically we hunted a woman nearly to death for sins that other people did, right? And wanted to hide and cover up. And again, I think a lot of it was done because people want to get more of what they want in our country, and it's hard where we are. But if we had territories, we could make it happen for everybody without harming families, without, you know, video cameraing them or trying to humiliate them to death or, any of the horrible things that actually happened. If we were conscious and we sat down and talked at a table and said, okay, here's where we are common, here's where we're apart, how do we make this work for everybody, instead of being in a tumultuous battle like energy, we could come to the table and figure out a positive way to make this work for every single person as much as possible, right? And as Americans who love our country, wouldn't we want to do that? And wouldn't we want to honor that in each other, even if we don't agree with what some of each of us does? Wouldn't we want to have people be happy in their own fashion and have more of what they want, so long as it doesn't impact the other group, right? Back and forth, and find a way to positively make change. So this is about light and love in the universe, bringing angelic vibes, solving crimes, and hopefully charting a more peaceful path forward for the US of A country we're so blessed to live in. God bless.